I've talked several times of my love for bad movies. It takes a lot sometimes to endure the pain one must experience to reach such state of enlightenment. Then you can start going online to post such takes as Grown Ups 2 is a cinematic masterpiece, and Why Pixels is secretly Adam Sandler's best movie. Wait, that one was serious. Has cinema forgotten about this hidden gem? A deep analysis of Osabi. Oh my god, I can't. I can't even say that sarcastically, and that's coming from me. But these past few years have been pretty good for reaching my eldritch god level of hunger that comes for terrible movies. Yeah, some sacrifices must be made, like the $100 million budgets of Borderlands and Megalopolis, but it's to keep me happy, okay? I'm a firm believer that bad movies are an art form of their own, and you can make something truly amazing when you understand what you're doing and who you're making this for. The problem lies in the fact that a lot of movies aren't made under these conditions. Sometimes a bad movie is just bad, and people don't realize it. I know, it's crazy. How the fuck did anyone think a Slender Man movie was a good idea? And yeah, this can be forgiven sometimes because of inexperience, troubled production and studio interference, or even just not realizing a vision because it was a little too ambitious. But what if I were to tell you that, across these past 3 years, we've had 3 separate entries into a movie series. One that is not an original idea, it's an adaptation of another movie that apparently takes place in the same universe, and they had the gall to film all 3 at the same time, so they could put them out regardless of reception. Because if you want a bad trilogy, no, if you want what I unironically think is the worst trilogy ever made, with a little asterisk next to that, because yeah, if you look hard enough on Tubi, you'll probably find the Evil Foreskin trilogy or something, but that doesn't count here, because I'm calling this the worst trilogy ever made, distributed by a big name, because Lionsgate are producing this, and I'm holding them accountable. I give you all The Strangers, Chapter 1, 2, and 3. So here's the gist about The Strangers as a franchise. The first movie came out, pretty basic home invasion movie about a couple moving into an unfamiliar area, got good reception due to creating a pretty solid paranoid atmosphere and doing a home invasion movie a whole 5 years before The Purge came out. Impressive. It had some great audio design, especially with the knocking and the scrapes and the weapons and stuff. It had some iconic villains that were memorable due to their masks, as many killers have been before them, and it got decent reviews. Fast forward a few years, it's a bit of a cult classic, and my mum likes it. That's right, this movie gets the mum approval. Which normally wouldn't mean anything because most mums are still obsessed with Robbie Williams, but my mum likes Terminator and Final Destination, so she's already got much better taste. Then they released a sequel 10 years later, which was kinda uneventful. It didn't make a huge splash, doesn't really get talked about all that much. Wasn't really offensive in any way, just truly unremarkable. Until Roy Lee announced plans to film a reboot trilogy, filming the 3 of them back to back, with Renny Harlin as director, creator of such amazing hits as Die Hard 2, The Exorcist prequel, and Nightmare on Elm Street 4. Wait, this motherfucker's the one who killed Kincaid? We've had beef since way before this fucking trilogy, Renny. Oh, when I get my hands on you! Anyway, that's kinda it. No trouble production cited, no big fuck up or studio mismanagement. The movies were just filmed and then released. Wow, what a unique process in today's landscape. Anyway, the Strangers trilogy follows a couple of 5 years, Maya and Ryan, played by Madeleine Petsch and Froy Gutierrez. Those almost sound like real names. And they're driving down to Portland to celebrate getting a work promotion. Yada yada, they stop by this town and its diner, end up getting an Airbnb in the most horror movie cabin to ever horror movie, and things go bump in the night when a mass trio of killers, Scarecrow, Dollface, and Pinup Girl, decide they aren't fans of Maya and Ryan's presence, stalking them and trying to off their asses. This is basically a plot summary of the first movie, but to be real, this trilogy could have been one movie. They all feel so bloated and could have easily been one 2-hour, 15-minute movie or something. It still wouldn't have been good, but it would have had less bad elements, I suppose. And if you're wondering what the following movies do to innovate on this concept they've done already, well, cover your ears, because I'm going to be spoiling all 3 of these, baby. Okay, so after the first movie, Ryan is murked like a hostage taken by the local mob.
This is America.
But, shocking twist, Maya survives. And the next 2 movies are about the gang trying to clean up their mess, whoop-de-fucking-do. Okay, so first off, this movie is meant to take place in the same universe as the OG Strangers movie, and I guess Prey of the Night, but does that mean there's just 2 different sets of strangers that are using Dollface and Pinup Girl masks? Yeah, the man in the mask in the original isn't a Scarecrow one, but that doesn't change the weird coincidence it'd be to have 2 murderous trios shopping at the same Spirit Halloween. At least we're only talking about these new ones now. I do not like them. I think in the first movie, Chapter 1, they're fine. That movie struggles with having really slow and dragged out pacing, and most of the movie focusing on the two most cardboard cutout characters you can ask for. I've spent almost 5 hours with Maya now, and I can't tell you a single character trait of hers. It's infuriating. I don't feel connected to her. I don't like her, and I don't really care if she succeeds half the time with escaping the strangers. This is bad enough in most movies. It's really hard to enjoy whatever sequence of events you're watching when it happens to a character you don't give a fuck about. But in horror, and especially home invasion movies or slashers, the concept of the final girl is such a vital cornerstone of the genre that you really have to get them right. Imagine if Laurie Strode had such little writing surrounding her. The first movie ended in a similar way to the original movie, but it's also just much less effective to me. The original line the strangers use when asked why they're doing this is,
"Because you were home."
Which is actually kind of chilling. I mean, they're attacking you at your place of comfort and doing it just because. It's also a little childish, which adds to the manic of the situation, whereas Chapter 1's
"Because you're here."
just doesn't hit the same for me. I might be nitpicking, but it feels very non-specific. Here in this room, this house, this forest, this town. I actually think Chapter 2 is the best of the trilogy and requires the least summary because it's basically just one big chase sequence. Maya wakes up in hospital and the strangers find out she's alive at Hunter. Wow. They chase her through the hospital, the woods, with her car, and she ends up in their house through a series of events where they confront her with the masks off. And it makes them much less intimidating in my opinion. I mean, it humanizes them, and that can sometimes work in a way that highlights their psychopathy, but when this guy who looks like he's named Kyle is staring daggers at me, I just want to kick him in the nuts. The movie being one big chase sequence makes it much better than the other two because of the awful pacing that follows throughout all of the movies. I mean it when I say that it could have just been one movie. You just have Maya running or hiding from Scarecrow and oh no, he's axed a random person. And then Maya running from Pinup Girl and she's fired a crossbow bolt into another random person. She tries to ask for help and oh no, that person is also dead. Then she keeps running. There's also a random scene where Maya doesn't even deal with the strangers and instead gets attacked by a fucking random boar. And watching this made me very sad at the time, especially because it's incredibly uneventful. She just lets it stand on her and grits her teeth through the pain, then it leaves. But now it makes me smile, because it reminds me of the boar scene in Send Help, a much better movie. But sadly, I'm watching The Strangers instead. There's also just nothing interesting going on technically. There's a lot of shot reverse shot and most nothing one takes known to man. The audio design is fine, nothing substantial, and considering the severe lack of jump scares, which I think would make the movie better for once, there's just nothing to grab onto. The Strangers work best as a force with higher mobility in a confined space. In an enclosed environment, you can't go outside and you have to make do with whatever house you're in against them. That makes their entry points plentiful and you can have some great moments like, I don't know, show their faces in the windows in the background. Have some characters walk by them without seeing. I don't want to see 3 masked people chasing a girl through the woods. I hate Dead by Daylight. And considering the original movie has such great audio design with the use of the loudness of the knocks, it's just so annoying to see the unambitious tackling of what the strangers are doing in this movie. It makes them so much more lame. And I would like to reiterate, I think this is the best of the 3, because at least the movie isn't screeching to a grinding halt for some reason. The performances really don't do much for me either. There's nothing selling these characters, they're just there for the sake of the story. You can take a fairly underwritten killer and make them interesting or entertaining through a great performance. One of my favorite examples being Mikey Madison's Amber from Scream 5. She didn't have much going on personally for the story, but she's so deranged and kill-happy that it makes for a good time. Very much reflecting Stu on the OG Scream. Having Dollface or Pinup Girl be like that versus the other being a more reserved stranger and an angry and quiet Scarecrow would have made for an intimidating trio. Wait a second, I'm just describing the robbers from fucking Baby Driver. I mean, yeah, more characters should be like them. They rule. Wait, no, not Kevin Spacey. Not Kevin Spacey! But yeah, Dollface and Pinup Girl are just such nothing characters. They have nothing distinguishing them from each other. It doesn't help that the movie doesn't spend any time on them when they have the masks off. Gregory, who is Scarecrow by the way, kinda just hates Maya and is surprised she's the only one left. And he's the most important of the strangers. Like, I guess we learned Pinup Girl killed a classmate named Tamara, and this is something that annoys me with prequels and later additions to franchises that want to add more context. Sometimes it isn't needed. We don't need a backstory to the strangers about their life killing people and where "is Tamara home" comes from. Instead, Stephen King once said .mp4.
Stephen King once wrote that nightmares exist outside of logic, and there's little fun to be had in explanations. They're antithetical to the poetry of fear. In a horror story, the victim keeps asking why, but there can be no explanation, and there shouldn't be one. The unanswered mystery is what stays with us the longest, and it's what we'll remember in the end.
Plus, if these guys have been killing for so long, why do they suck ass at hunting Maya? She doesn't do anything unique, and she's even injured from the first time. Strangers? More like fucking jobbers. Anyway, Maya kills Pinup Girl and runs away, then the second movie ends, and this is like the only important thing in the movie. Now, I'm a huge fan of Ready or Not, and that's a movie where a group of people are hunting down a woman to kill her for selfish reasons that she picks off one by one. But that movie is good. It has actual cinematography. Samara Weaving is a legendary horror actress. They set up the characters so that we understand their motives and personalities for starting the hunt. It has some comedic moments for levity, the pacing is great, and there is never a moment that drags even when they take a break from chase sequences. And the music is fucking great. Most importantly though, the protagonist Grace decks a child. If Maya punched a child, maybe she'd be more memorable in my mind. Anyway, the point is these are all things that the Strangers trilogy lacks. For a series that was filmed back to back, it really feels like they didn't have any plans for how the story was going to play out when writing it. And this is probably true considering how many reshoots they had to do, which Madeleine has talked about. Shelley shows up in an early scene in part 1, but she doesn't have any real established personality. It's like they wanted the identities of the Strangers to be a mystery, but then just revealed them all to be Jonathan Smith. I'm not connected to Jonathan Smith. I want to be surprised how saddened who they are, but it's hard to give a fuck. Anyway, one of them is dead, so surely things are less egregious with only 2 strangers, right? Also, I haven't really discussed it, but all 3 movies have a cold open of the Strangers killing someone, and it makes it even funnier that Maya is the only one to survive. Like, she didn't do anything differently, they just suck at their jobs. I feel like her just getting away uninjured would be the more realistic way to continue with the one that got away plotline, since you can keep up the facade that the Strangers are still as deadly as ever, even if Maya has plot armor. This isn't Kill Bill, we don't need the main character to be the chosen one that survived mass injury. I feel like all I'm doing is comparing this dog shit to actually good movies, and I feel bad for that. So, I'm gonna talk about the worst movie of the trilogy. Yeah, so the first movie's problems lie in being a bad adaptation, a boring home invasion movie with barely any tension and characters that we don't care about. And that continues into the second movie that at least has more action. So surely the third movie will have the most action, right?
No.
They don't even know what excuses to make to have Scarecrow not just murk Maya anymore, so she just gets captured like 4 times. They also invent side characters, because much like Stranger Things Season 5, the fans were clamoring for more side plots with new characters that were introduced for no reason. This time with Maya's sister, who definitely existed before this. She and her husband are investigating the town for her. Wow. I'm sure this will culminate in a really nice emotional moment later, and she's dead. And Maya's reaction isn't even emotive. She barely fucking cares. Must have been mad at her sister for stealing a toothbrush or something, because damn girl, you are cold! This movie tries to set up a narrative where Dollface and Scarecrow are trying to recruit Maya as the new pinup girl after she killed Jasmine, the old one. But hot take, she doesn't want to kill people. And I actually don't hate this in concept. Killers trying to turn victims who were forced to kill people to their side is a cool narrative and all, and creates a nice relationship between the hero and the villain, but this movie doesn't even try to examine it further outside of, "We're the same," and then a reply saying, "No." The worst part about this, though, is the dumb fucks give her a blade and turn their back on her. So she obviously just shanks them. Yet Maya just kills Dollface and they somehow didn't see this coming. What a crazy twist. It's insane to me that after this, Scarecrow just lets her go. He keeps her tied in the truck, then after forcing her to watch sister die, is just like, "Yeah, I'm a psychopath, and you refuse to work with me and kill my 2 murder buddies I've known since high school, but you can go now." The backstories are so fully explained here, and it's so stupid. Gregory and Shelley, or Scarecrow and Dollface, have always loved murdering people, ever since they were kids. What wholesome fun. And then Scarecrow kills a guy with an axe and buries him in leaves. He got caught though, and is tried for the murder. Then they basically say, "Well, normally we wouldn't imprison minors, but dude, he fucking destroyed that guy. Like, this is awful. That is not normal. That kid needs to be locked up. But Sheriff, your hard work and dedication to this town does not go unnoticed, and therefore he will remain in your custody. God bless America. Can I get an amen? Hoorah, Semper Fi, fuck yeah!" That kills my throat, man. Yeah, the sheriff is Scarecrow's dad and covers up his murders. The reason he goes for tourists and people that aren't from town in motels and shit is because he told him not to kill townsfolk. Great job, Discount Harry Morgan. Also, the sheriff just starts killing people because, fuck it, why not? All of this is terrible and stupid and had to be genuinely laughing. This is the big reveal? Over-explaining your character's motives and saying they somehow avoided the law because of a corrupt justice system? Fuck off. And to add insult to injury, the last 10 minutes of the movie are a poorly paced conversation that is meant to genuinely try to fool me into believing Scarecrow and Maya are in love. And he fucking buys it! What a dumbass! She kills him and leaves, hopefully never to be seen again. I don't exaggerate when I say that I think this is the worst trilogy ever made published by a big name. Because I mean, what is there to like? There's no cool technical work like cinematography or audio design, nothing is entertaining or captivating from a movie perspective, there's no elements of horror that don't feel repetitive or derivative. The fact there's 3 movies releasing together meant there were no stakes for the main character to the point where they had to introduce new characters to make dumb decisions and die. The killers are potentially the most stupid killers in any movie I've ever seen that wasn't making fun of them on purpose. And then they just try to let her go. The only reason she comes back is because, the killings will continue unless I kill them. I mean, I feel like I'm just repeating the same talking points, but what am I meant to say? I can't describe and analyze something that isn't there. Most of the trilogy's runtime is padding, and this genuinely could have been one okay movie. The flashbacks completely ruin the pacing, and further complicate the matter with awful writing for character motivations. The performances are barely passable, and any intended emotional moment is laughably bad. The only thing I'm feeling is boredom, and that's really it. This trilogy is boring. I don't care about seeing the 12th chase scene after another, I don't care about the killer being unmasked and talking to their would-be victim. None of it is interesting, none of it is entertaining, nothing is cool, and it feels like a waste of potential. The original Strangers still exists as a great movie though. I rated these on Letterboxd when I saw them, but Chapter 1 gets a 2 out of 10, Chapter 2 also gets a 2 out of 10, but one that is slightly higher, like a 2.2 if you care about differences like that, and Chapter 3 gets a 1 out of 10. That one is just so bleak. But frankly, I think you'll be hard-pressed to find a trilogy published by a big name that's worse than these. But I am very curious, so if you have any suggestions, please let me know in the comments. And if you liked the video, like it. If you didn't, that's okay. I hope to see you in the next one. Subscribe to see more and have a wonderful day. Make sure to take care of yourself, okay? Alright, bye.